Live from KSAT 12, the 6 o'clock news starts right now.
A San Antonio man arrested for capital murder in Converse. That's our top story today at 6.
The 42-year-old Dominic Nicholson wanted in the November 14th deadly shooting at a 7-Eleven convenience store in Pflugerville, Texas.
The Pflugerville Police Department requesting assistance from the U.S. Marshals Lone Star Fugitive Task Force in Austin to find and arrest Nicholson. Austin media outlets reporting that he allegedly shot and killed 34-year-old Jermichael Perry Moses. Nicholson is being held in the Bexar County Jail now. His bond is set at $1 million. A man arrested in San Antonio following a shooting last night outside of Eagle Pass will be sent back to Maverick County to face at least one charge, but possibly more. The man, whose name has not been released, was taken into custody in a Walmart parking lot on the south side just off I-35. The Maverick County Sheriff's Office was given information the suspect was in San Antonio. Sheriff Tom Schmerber tells us the man accidentally shot and wounded one man with a 9mm weapon, hitting him in the face. The victim was airlifted to San Antonio for treatment. However, investigators later found the body of another man behind the house where that shooting took place. As a result, the sheriff says the suspect also could be facing a murder charge after they learned more about what happened from witnesses who were there last night.
It was a grim discovery in the search for an Austin mother and her newborn daughter who disappeared. The Harris County medical examiners confirming the body found in a trunk is of Heidi Broussard. Cause of death, strangulation.
The search for missing Texas mother Heidi Broussard and her month-old daughter Margot appears to have come to a tragic end. Overnight, authorities descending on a house outside of Houston, finding a baby unharmed, but discovering what they believe is the body of Heidi Broussard in the trunk of a car.
The charges that have been filed at this point are 2 charges of kidnapping and 1 charge of tampering with a corpse.
Heidi Broussard was last seen December 12th, captured in this surveillance photo dropping off her 6-year-old son at school. Her fiancé, Shane Carey, came home that afternoon to find her gone, with no sign of a struggle and nothing of value missing from their home.
She would never disappear. She is an amazing mom. She would never. We have a 6-year-old son named Silas, beautiful kid. She would never leave him.
According to the Harris County District Clerk's website, it shows Megan Firmuska is being held on a $600,000 bond. She is the owner of the vehicle in which the victim's body was found.
A man is facing an aggravated assault charge for stabbing another man with a screwdriver. Police say it happened while the victim was picking up a cell phone from his ex-wife. The affidavit states that Jim Correa got into a physical fight with the victim and stabbed him in the side. Correa took off before police arrived. Information from witnesses, though, helped lead to the suspect's arrest.
The surveillance video helped lead to the arrest of Sean Spain, who's accused of vehicle burglary. The incident from December 15th at the Infinity at the Rim apartment complex on the far north side near UTSA. Spain allegedly seen on video checking cars for unlocked doors along with another suspect. The suspects were able to get into a Dodge Challenger. The affidavit states you could see Spain rummaging through the car, putting something in his pocket. Police were able to make the arrest after finding the car's owner.
San Antonio police say they have 1 down and possibly several others to go. They've arrested 1 person so far and are looking for others believed to be tied to a string of convenience store robberies. As Katrina Weber reports, it is not the suspect's first arrest.
False.
False? What's false?
False.
With denial on his lips and handcuffs on his wrists, 23-year-old Nathaniel Talley began his journey toward jail last night. San Antonio police, however, believe he actually set out on that road by going on a nearly 12-hour robbery spree earlier this month.
This is still an ongoing investigation. We believe there are more suspects out there.
Police believe Talley was part of a group that crisscrossed the city, robbing more than half a dozen convenience stores. At one on General McMullen, a clerk was pistol whipped. The robbers also shot at a witness who tried to follow them. This is where one of the first robberies happened, the 5200 block of Blanco. And it looks like for the first time in the series, money wasn't just taken from the store. The clerk's wallet also was stolen. Police say that became the group's tactic to take cell phones, jewelry, and other property from the workers, along with the store's cash. After one robbery, Chief William McManus made an appeal for information. Police say a tip led them to tally at a Northwest Side apartment complex.
The robbery task force, along with the SWAT team, was able to surround the individual, try to make contact with him. He fled the location, so there was a small foot pursuit.
Officers who caught Talley say he had a gun on him. It turns out it's not his first time in trouble. His record shows several arrests, including one for a previous armed robbery. Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
Congress starting its holiday recess after what has been a historic and incredibly busy week in D.C. that included impeachment. Lawmakers also worked on several other big agenda items before the session ended. The House passed the United States-Mexico-Canada trade bill. The bill tightens rules of origin for auto parts and requires a larger share of cars to be made by workers earning at least $16 per hour. The Senate expected to decide on the bill deal early next year. On Thursday, the Senate also passed a $1.4 trillion spending bill. Impeachment still looms in 2020, though. The Senate expected to hold a trial when Congress returns in January.
Meantime, electability, ideology, and relatability. Those were the central themes in Thursday night's debate, the last one of 2019. Presidential candidates kick it into high gear next year as caucuses and primaries begin. Camila Bernal tells us how the debate will play out in the weeks ahead.
7 Democratic candidates
Put your hand down for a second, Bernie, okay?
came out swinging in Thursday night's debate.
I know. Say it low. I know.
Using the smaller stage to make the case for why each is best suited to take on President Trump in 2020.
I think what matters in this election is, can you bring in those rural and suburban areas, particularly in the Midwest?
The question of electability, a driving factor for Democrats, with each candidate claiming they hold the key to that intangible quality.
Who has the best chance, the most likely chance of defeating Donald Trump?
We are laser focused on solving the real problems that got Donald Trump elected in the first place.
My experience building a business, understanding how to make that happen, means I can go toe to toe with Mr. Trump.
In addition to the electability argument, the question of ideology.
I am rather proud, maybe, I don't know, the only candidate up here doesn't have any billionaire contributions.
Billionaires in wine caves should not pick the next president of the United States.
If I pledged never to be in the company of a progressive Democratic donor, I couldn't be up here.
The campaign's now looking forward and kicking into high gear.
I think the contrasts among us are coming into focus.
Who can win in those states that we lost in 2016?
With the Iowa caucus just 45 days away, the time to make that case is quickly running out. In Washington, I'm Camila Bernal.
Take a look at time saver traffic out there right now. This is I-37 here at Hackberry. You can see the lanes leading up to one of the exits there, very slow going. We have no real accidents to tell you about or traffic tie-ups that we know of, but the road's definitely slick. That's been a challenge for drivers all day long. So slow going for people in certain lanes here at 37 and Hackberry. SWBC partnering with Wish for Our Heroes to grant wishes to 6 San Antonio military families today. The Wish for Our Heroes organization works to help men and women who are active duty. They prioritize granting basic needs wishes like food and clothing, but they also help service people enjoy fun events like sending families on vacation. Recipients today say they're honored to have been selected by the organization.
It's wonderful to know that you're not forgotten and that people took time and money out of their life to do something special for strangers, and we just served our country and loved doing it.
Each family also got to open Christmas gifts that had been hand-selected for them.
'Tis the season. Live cam outside right now, 52 degrees. The temperature's not that bad. It's just the general yuckiness.
The ick.
The ick factor. Yeah, that's big out there today. And a lot of people were on the roadways getting those last minute errands done before we head into the holiday weekend and into the holiday week next week. And the rain didn't help much at all. Right now on the radar screen, we have just a few light showers, but mainly on the south side of town. That's a good thing because the south side of town really hasn't seen all that much rain throughout the day today in terms of accumulations. I'll have a very detailed rainfall map for you coming up in a few minutes. Aquifer hasn't responded to the rainfall yet, but as we continue to see that water trickle in, I anticipate that number to be up a little bit tomorrow. Mountain cedar and mold both low for now, but mold should also jump tomorrow after all this rain. We'll be back to talk about your weekend and what to expect into next week coming up.
All right, thanks, Adam. Still to come, the results from a study showing the benefits of meals made with your medical condition in mind. Still to come.
But first, you've probably seen home prices shoot up in your neighborhood over the past few years, but not as much, I bet, as they have in Fort Lauderdale. In 2010, the average home there sold for $106,000. It is now $278,000, $279,000 according to this graphic. That's 161% more. Meanwhile, in Las Vegas, housing prices rose about 14% each year. As for the largest gain in pure dollars, that price goes to San Francisco. You could grab a home there for the average price of just under $700,000 in 2010. Today, it would cost $1.4 million.
Ooh, be a big grab. A new study finds a link between babies getting antibiotics and developing allergies later in life. Researchers discovered children who take antibiotics before they're 6 months old are more likely to develop food allergies, asthma, or dermatitis. It should be noted the study does not prove that antibiotics cause allergies. It is possible that kids at an increased risk of developing them are also more susceptible to bacterial infections, which then require antibiotics.
This SA Salute holiday greeting is brought to you by Broadway Bank.
I'm Jeff Nelson with Broadway Bank, an Air Force veteran, and I'd like to wish all the men and women serving on active duty a very happy holidays. Thank you for your service. Also, a special shout out to the last one of my buddies still on active duty, Major General James Jacobson. Jake, all the best.
It's been nearly 3 weeks since a man was injured in a shooting. Now Leon Valley police say they are getting closer to solving this case. Tonight on the Night Beat, the man they say they want to question. Plus,
I never knew that people would get so much joy from it.
a local business spreading Christmas cheer, and it all started with a little red mailbox. How they're helping Old St. Nick during this busy holiday season at 10.
Are you really what you eat? A pilot study in California is trying to prove that. It's providing meals that are medically tailored for 1,000 people with congestive heart failure to keep them healthy and out of the hospital and also save healthcare dollars. Ursula Perry with that story.
Do I feel like barbecue chicken today?
Congestive heart failure made Diane Henry feel like she was drowning.
There was a time I thought this was it. I didn't have any plans. It's just, I thought it was over for me.
Then, 8 months ago, she got into California's pilot study to see if diets tailored to patients with heart failure would keep them out of the hospital. That means very little salt.
We provide them with meals that are perfectly balanced, and the entire day's worth of meals total 2 grams of salt.
Project Angel Food has made and delivered medically tailored meals to patients with chronic illnesses for 30 years now.
We are indeed seeing dramatic results. We're bringing down the numbers of readmissions into the hospital.
In fact, Project Angel Food says only 10% of clients in the pilot are readmitted to the hospital within 30 days, as compared to 32% of all Medicaid patients with congestive heart failure.
If it's made for you and delivered to your home, and you're not having to go out to the grocery store or to a fast food place where you might buy something high in salt, this makes it easy to eat a healthier diet.
Diane believes this is making her better.
I feel like I'm getting the old Diane. She's coming back, but back with a vengeance and a healthier Diane.
The hardest part about this is cutting back on your salt intake. A recent study found that 60% of all meats and poultry items sold had somehow been soaked or marinated in a briny or salty solution. So you're getting salt without even knowing it. The best way to avoid that is not to buy anything that has a label that says marinated or enhanced. Ursula Perry, KSAT 12 News.
Okay, outside today. It's not a great day out there.
No.
Just dreary.
Yeah, and we didn't see a whole lot of rain across a good portion of our viewing area, but there were some lucky little bullseyes and little spots that had some decent accumulations, and some of them even near the recharge zone for the aquifer. So I think it's going to respond a little bit as we go into tomorrow. And overall, it's a cool day, below average temperatures this afternoon, and damp, raw, dreary for most of us, but not everybody, and I'll get more into that in a moment. At the airport, we picked up about 1/4 inch of rain today. 52 was our high temperature. Look at our low, 49. We had a 3-degree temperature swing throughout the day today. That's it, because of the conditions that we have out there with the damp and drizzle and off and on showers. All right, so here's a close look at how much rain was actually measured by area rain gauges. And I mentioned a few little bullseyes. Alamo Ranch, about 0.4 inch. Chavano Park, 0.46. Stone Oak, about 0.4 inch. But then you get to Adkins and only 0.05 inch. Bronig Lake, 0.07 inch. So yeah, the haves and have-nots, as we often see with rain events across South Texas, and even Rio Medina, about 1/3 inch. That's good for them, considering the type of event that we have out there. Right now, we actually have some decent little showers out there, especially on the far south side of town, between 410 and 1604, right along I-37, in an area where, as I showed you, so far today, we haven't had that much. Only a few 1/100 inch. This will probably boost you up to about 1/10 inch for the day. So better than nothing, but we're not looking at a big drought denting event here. Well, with the exception of along the Gulf coastline. They've had some really good rainfall. Beeville, Victoria, Goliad, Corpus Christi, it has been some good rain. You know, this is all part of a big upper level disturbance that we've had move overhead. This dip in the upper level flow, that's the upper level disturbance. It stirs things up, generates these showers, and gives us these types of conditions. It's all pushing off to the east, though. Once you get on the backside of these, well, that's when you actually clear out. And we're already seeing the clearing in some of our western counties, the Hill Country, Eagle Pass, Del Rio. You guys have a clear sky, whereas in San Antonio, it's still damp, dreary with drizzle and sprinkles and a few light showers. Upper level high, Big Blue H, that's going to settle in for the weekend, so we'll transition back to sunshine over the weekend. Let's talk temperatures now. 60 in Junction, 63 in Del Rio. Meanwhile, 52 in San Antonio. We actually had some clearing and a few hours of sunshine farther to the west of town. And this is a visible satellite imagery showing that clearing line pushing eastward gradually through the afternoon. So where we had some sun, it was a little bit warmer, of course, but that's going to make a big difference as for overnight lows. You look at the visibilities and you see it's only 2 miles at the airport in town, Pleasanton 2.5, but then 10 miles where we have the clearing, much better visibility. All right, that clearing, it's going to make a difference overnight tonight. Where you have the clear sky, you don't have the blanket of clouds. In the Hill Country, by tomorrow morning, we're looking at right around the freezing point. About 33 in Kerrville and Fredericksburg Junction, 31. Meanwhile, here in San Antonio, 49 degrees. You notice the temperature's not fallen very much through the evening, and we'll start the day tomorrow in the upper 40s and make it to about 63 with some afternoon sunshine. But we have to get through some morning fog, so still a little bit of dampness early on Saturday, otherwise clearing out and becoming comfortable. Sunday, we do it all over again. Some morning fog, afternoon sun, making it into the 60s, so looking and feeling good. Into next week, still very uneventful weather for Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. Nothing to worry about, just partly cloudy, right near 70. Don't have to worry about a freeze or your plants, pets, pipes, people, everything. You're good to go.
All right, the sun's coming back. Thanks, Adam.
All right, you know, this mate had a pretty good game.
Yes, he did. And he loves to tell everybody that it is game day. When we come back, we're talking about the Thunder from down under. Patty Mills, who had a career-tying night from three-point range and helped bring the Spurs back and keep their streak alive against the Brooklyn Nets. And Wembley is in the state finals, just ended. Do they bring home another state championship coming up?
And everything comes back with this big...
Our San Antonio Spurs are finding ways to win against good teams now and having a winning record at home at 8-7 and are now just one game out of the 8th playoff position in the Western Conference. That's after Patty Mills exploded in the second half, where he scored 21 of his 27 points off the bench to rally the Spurs from a 14-point deficit against the Brooklyn Nets for the win. Mills' performance included a career-tying 7 3-pointers to help the Spurs out to a 25-8 run to open the fourth quarter, while the Spurs defense limited the Nets to just 49 second-half points in the 118-105 victory. They're 17th in a row over the Nets in San Antonio.
It was huge tonight. especially in the third quarter. Hit some big shots, kind of got us going, and I mean, that's what we expect for him. He's been huge all year, and another great one tonight.
The main message for this whole year for us is just to find ways, you know, however you got to find ways, you know, that relentless effort, I think that's the way to put it.
All right, next up, Kawhi and the Clippers come calling again in San Antonio. That's tomorrow night, 7:30 in the AT&T Center. Spurs guard Bryn Forbes traded in his silver and black uniform for one more Christmas appropriate today as he joined Alpha Louise Christmas Project in the NBA season of giving by delivering Christmas presents and Spurs tickets, of course. The families on San Antonio's west side today hoping to make their Christmas holidays just a little brighter.
Things like Christmas and the happiness it can bring, you know, and to be able to bring happiness to families that might not be able to provide it for themselves, or you know, just to give gifts and see the smiles on kids' faces and know that you could help. It feels great. It really does. I'm just honored to kind of be able to do things like this, you know, and see the smiles on kids' faces is really rewarding, honestly. So I enjoy it.
That is awesome. The Wimberley Texans facing off against Pleasant Grove from Texarkana in the Class 4A Division II state championship game in AT&T Stadium in Arlington this afternoon. Looking for their second state title in school history, the Texans found themselves down from the opening kickoff thanks to a 90-yard return from KJ Hicks to make it 7-0 for the one-time defending state champs. Texans would answer, though. Cooper McCullum rolls right, and watch what happens this. He's going to throw right, and he's going to find Colby Boyle on a screen pass, and look what he does. He leaps for the end zone and gets his legs taken out from underneath him, lands on his back in the end zone for the score. The game is now tied at 7-all. After another Hawks TD, Texans answer again, this time on the ground. Moses Ray runs into the back of his lineman, but pops out to the right and turns on the Jets with a 24-yard score. Game tied at that time 14-all, but they give up another touchdown and be down 21-14 at the half. Let's check to see if that has gone final. It just has, and Pleasant Grove earns their second state championship back-to-back games, holding off Wimberley 35-21. After announcing 8 new recruits for the class of 2020 on Wednesday, new UTSA football coach Jeff Traylor is adding to his staff. The most recent hire announced today is Will Stein as his new passing game coordinator and wide receivers coach, giving the Roadrunners now 9 full-time assistants. Among the 9 assistants is Traylor's brother Kurt Traylor, who's now the Roadrunners' new tight ends coach. He comes to San Antonio from Tyler Lee, where he's the head coach at that high school as well. So now adding to staff, I believe he actually added one more recruit today, so that's up to 9. That's pretty good work when you consider he was just named the head coach last week. That's not bad.
Yeah, still work to do, but they're making progress.
Good job.
Yeah.
Right to it. Thanks, Greg. We'll be right back.
We turn now to a man who's home for the holidays 30 years after being wrongly convicted of murder. A judge set him free after a special prosecutor took a closer look at the evidence. Here's ABC's Kenneth Moten.
A moment this Illinois family has been waiting nearly 30 years for.
Oh, it's good to see you on this side.
Damon Weston walked out of prison after prosecutors dropped a decades-old murder charge against him.
Oh, my God. The air is that much better on this side. I promise you that.
Weston has maintained his innocence since 1990, when he was charged with murder and attempted murder. He says he only confessed to the crime after being tortured during a 12-hour interrogation by disgraced Chicago Police Commander John Burge. Burge, who has since died, spent 3 years in prison for lying about torturing suspects in the 1970s and 80s. This year, Weston's legal team asked the special prosecutor to revisit the case. After an investigation, a report found Weston's claim of torture was unsubstantiated, but the special prosecutor still requested the charges be dropped because he found the evidence, quote, does not meet the burden of beyond a reasonable doubt. This morning, Weston and his family are now making plans for his first Christmas home since he was 17.
The first Christmas in almost 30 years.
We're finna do it big for Christmas for him.
Anything that's cooked on a skillet, put on a plate, and just serve with love. It doesn't matter what it is, just something that's not in a vending machine.
Kenneth Moten, ABC News, New York.
A police dog in California took down a suspect after an incredible jump. Take a look. This canine went right through the driver's side window. You see it there? After police shot rubber pellets to break open that window. The suspect wanted for stalking and trying to run over his estranged wife. The suspect treated for minor injuries after the dog bit him. He was later taken into custody. He'll be charged with felony stalking and felony evading. That's one tough dog there. He also could face additional charges for punching the canine.
A task force in California has found no animal cruelty or criminal activity linked to more than 50 horse deaths at a racetrack in Santa Anita. Officials suspended racing in March amid some nationwide attention over the number of horses being euthanized or dying after accidents at that track. There were 56 deaths between last July and this November. According to the task force, improved safety policies reduced the number of fatal racing and training incidents.
Also caught on camera, a semi-truck sliding off the road and overturning during a snowstorm. A Kansas Highway Patrol trooper posted this video on the department's Twitter page. There goes the semi. Semi trying to pass a car, then change lanes when the driver lost control. Fortunately, no one was injured in all this.
Just in time for the holidays, the flu season seems to be in full swing. 3.7 million Americans have been impacted by the flu this year. According to the CDC, 1,800 people have died from the flu this season, since it officially began in late September. Not only is flu season striking faster and earlier than usual, it's also bringing an odd mix of viruses. Influenza B, which hits kids harder than adults, typically shows up later in the season.
To international news, 98-year-old Prince Philip has been admitted to the hospital over a pre-existing condition. The Buckingham Palace made the announcement today. A royal source says he was not taken there in an ambulance, but walked in. The admission is a precautionary measure on the advice of His Royal Highness's doctor. Queen Elizabeth II returned to Sandringham in Norfolk on Friday as scheduled. She's expected to spend Christmas there. It's unclear how long her husband will be in the hospital.
It was a competition of who could fake it the best at the Children's Hospital of San Antonio in a lip sync battle. Talented associates at the hospital were encouraged to come up with some creative choreography and lip sync their hearts out. They sang along to popular Christmas carols while dressed in their worst/best ugly Christmas sweaters. And the winners were the HR department.
I'm telling you, it feels great. Sometimes HR has a bad reputation, but we like to know that we're integrated with the hospital. We like to add value to the care for our children here.
HR is winners this year. Organizers hope to bring back this event again next year.
I think they should.
Coming up next, security concerns keep on growing as more Ring devices are getting hacked. The latest case and what the company is doing to improve its own security system.
Also still to come, saying more than just thank you. How two major companies are making the holiday season a little easier for some lucky veterans.
This SA Salute holiday greeting is brought to you by Broadway Bank.
Hi, I'm Heather Donahue here with Broadway Bank in San Antonio, Texas. Would like to wish a happy holidays to all the men and women in our armed forces. Special shout out to my daughter, Sergeant Megan Hine, and her husband, Master Sergeant Justin Hine, both active duty U.S. Air Force, who have just returned stateside after 4 years overseas. Can't wait to spend the holidays with you.
The privacy of your own home might not be as private as you think. A rash of households have recently fallen victim to the Ring security system break-ins. Consumer reporter Marilyn Moritz reports.
Hello, is someone here? Can you hear me?
A stranger accesses a Virginia family's Ring home security system. The man then speaks to the family's nanny, who came downstairs after hearing his voice.
Why is the door open? I'm in your house now. I opened it. Look behind you.
The hacker's voice came from one of the Ring cameras inside the house.
If they are actually hacking our system, the system is registered to our address, so they would have our home address.
And this isn't an isolated incident.
Get up. I got treats. Get up.
Other households had their Ring systems hacked, including this one in Washington State.
Who is that? I'm your best friend. I'm Santa Claus.
The family, who wanted to remain anonymous, contacted Ring for an explanation.
It was accessed by a third party. They used a mobile device. They just told me that I could have had a lax password, and
that they could have guessed my password.
The company recently issued a statement saying that they've investigated the issue and have no evidence of an unauthorized intrusion or compromise of Ring systems or network. Ring also advises its users to enable two-factor authentication, add shared users, and use different and strong passwords. Marilyn Moritz, KSAT 12 News.
The Ring statement also said it would keep introducing additional security features. Anyone with questions or concerns can contact Ring directly.
All right, one full day of this damp and dreary stuff. I think most of us would say we are ready for it to move on out of here for the weekend, Adam.
Yeah, and it's going to. We're going to see some improvements this weekend. We'll be back to a lot of sunshine. Just this evening and overnight, don't expect much of a change. We're 52 right now, and we'll drop to about 50 through midnight. So temperatures holding steady, at least around San Antonio tonight. There is going to be a big difference across South Texas. I'll break that down for you, along with the weekend forecast and look ahead to Christmas coming up.
Insurance giant Geico and a New York collision company are teaming up to thank veterans for their service with more than just some words. They're donating 3 cars to vets who proudly served, then struggled to navigate civilian life without any wheels.
Yeah, the cars come from the National Auto Body Council's Recycled Rides program, which has refurbished hundreds of cars. Damaged or stolen cars transformed with all donated bodywork, parts, and materials. Pretty cool. Yeah. All right, when toys started disappearing from a police donation drive, officers had no suspects until they caught the culprit, Red Pod. A Massachusetts police department's been collecting donated toys for the holidays, but after a few toys vanished, they quickly realized it was an inside job.
There's a reason I'm smiling about stolen toys.
Yeah.
Ben Franklin is a therapy dog for the department. He tried to evade officers, led them on a chase to his hideout. Look at that, is so cute.
Yeah.
Ben will not be facing any charges. However, he is no longer allowed in the toy room.
They're going to keep him on a short leash. All right, this year we'll put the Super in Super Saturday, December 21st, expected to be the biggest shopping day of the year, even beating out Black Friday crowds. The National Retail Federation reports in a new survey that nearly 148 million people are expected to shop.
You one of them?
Yes.
Also known as Panic Saturday for some people. This shopping holiday is all about getting some last-minute holiday gifts. Cheap Black Friday-like prices, though, they're not super likely. But that's the gamble when shopping is so close to Christmas Day. Steve, some stores will even have extended hours, though.
All that good information. All right, the holidays are here, and ugly is in again. Today is National Ugly Christmas Sweater Day. It's easy to celebrate. Just find or make the most hideous and festive sweater you can. Sweater doesn't fit? Even better.
It's not just an iconic fad. Ugly sweaters, they've become big business. And one thing is for sure, those sweaters make ugly look good.
Yes, they do.
And now companies sell these. I mean, you can find them in stores.
Yes. Whataburger has their own.
Yes.
Ugly, and they call them ugly sweaters. I'm not saying that just because, you know, I find a certain allure to Whataburger myself, but they have their own sweaters. I've seen beer companies with their own sweaters.
Yeah,
I mean,
so many companies. I think Popeyes Chicken had one this year too.
Whataburger had a big chorus singing the different tunes. I mean, to the tune of "Wish You Merry Christmas" or 12 Days of Christmas to Whataburger themes. It was classic on social media. You got to check that out.
Okay.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Very creative.
Were they wearing the ugly sweaters?
Yes, they were.
Okay,
of course
good.
they were.
Good to know.
Yeah. Well, cool today. Sunny, a little bit warmer as we go into the weekend. Some folks actually had some decent amount of rainfall. I showed you that map earlier, last half hour. We had about 0.4 of an inch on the north side of Bexar County, but south side of town, not that much, only a few hundredths of an inch. But the real bullseye, that was down near Corpus Christi. Oh yeah, that's where they had over an inch of rainfall, and it's still coming down southeast of town as you get closer to the coastline and along the coastal plains, some decent rain there. Right now, that's where most of the shower activity is. Victoria down to Corpus Christi, and that's all pushing off to the northeast. Locally around town, we don't have as much going on, just a few continuous little sprinkles here and there, drizzle, some light showers, but really nothing all that strong. Just enough to keep everything damp and to keep the roadways damp and to keep the visibility down as well. I mean, speaking of visibility, this is our live cam, and this is 410. Usually you can see the airport right about here in the middle part of the screen. That's not the case right now. We're at 52 degrees, no breeze out there, and visibilities are down to only 2 miles at the airport in San Antonio. New Braunfels, 1.5 miles. So not the best weather for traveling around town and across portions of South Texas this evening, but we will see improvements as we go into the weekend. Visibilities will get better eventually as we get into midday tomorrow. Temperature-wise, for the most part, right around 50, 53 Floresville. Devine right at 50 degrees, along with Canyon Lake. Bernie Stage Airfield at 48. Now, the difference today was farther to the west of town. It's still a little bit warmer in Del Rio at 63, but I want to rewind to earlier today when we hit our high temperature. Our high in San Antonio was 52, but notice how they cleared out and had sunshine farther west of town. West of I-35, several hours of sunshine. That made all the difference. In turn, Del Rio topped out at 70 degrees. But then you go to Hondo and it was only 53. Even Uvalde, 55. That's a huge temperature difference, and it's all a result of having that cloud cover stick around through the day, or conversely, have the sunshine farther to the west. Now, the clearing skies west of I-35, that's going to have a big impact on our temperatures tomorrow morning. If you're venturing into the hill country, or that's where you reside, we'll be near freezing tomorrow morning, probably about 32, 33 degrees, Kerrville, Fredericksburg, and even Junction. But then along and east of I-35, where these clouds are going to stick around and we'll just have low fog developing, our temperatures aren't going to move very much. So a big difference just across the KSAT 12 viewing area from east to west in terms of temperatures early tomorrow morning. So get ready for that. Here's our overall weather pattern, and this is how it's changing. So the big dip in the upper level flow here, that's what's been causing the shower activity today. On the backside of it, we've got sunshine and a big blue H, upper level high that's going to be settling in. That's going to be the main driving force for our weather the next several days. So it's going to bring us back to a sunny pattern for quite a stretch again. We just have to get through some morning fog, and that's going to be the first thing early tomorrow morning. We'll have more drizzle tonight, some sprinkles, fog to start the day tomorrow, then sunshine. Probably by about 10, 11 a.m. we'll break out into the sun, 63 the high temperature. And then into Sunday, we do it all over again. Some areas of morning fog leading to a good amount of sunshine for the majority of the day. And a big temperature swing from 36 on Sunday morning to 66 into the afternoon. Uneventful then as we get into next week, which is a good thing from this time of year. Uneventful travel plans across Texas are looking pretty good if you plan on hitting the roads, as will just be partly cloudy and near 70 for highs.
Yeah, there are plenty of events already, so let's not make weather one of them.
Yeah, let's try not to. That would be ideal.
In case you missed it, up next.
By the way, are you done shopping for Christmas?
I am done shopping. One more thing to wrap, and done.
Adam, did you see her gloating over here?
Yeah, well, I know.
Oh, I am done for Christmas.
You want to help us?
Yeah, we
No,
got some spare time, right? All right, here's today's in case you missed it.
It is Friday, it's December 20th.
San Antonio police say more arrests are expected following a string of convenience store robberies. 23-year-old Nathaniel Talley taken into custody last night after police say he went on a nearly 12-hour robbery spree earlier this month. Police believe that Talley was part of a group that crisscrossed the city, robbing more than a half a dozen convenience stores. Flu season in full swing, and some of the latest numbers might shock you. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says that the flu has already killed 1,800 people since the official season began in late September, and it has sickened at least 3.7 million others. It has sent 32,000 people to the hospital.
President Trump has accepted an invitation from House Speaker Nancy Pelosi to deliver his third State of the Union address. Pelosi set a February 4th date, meaning the speech could coincide with his impeachment trial. The Speaker has yet to send the 2 articles of impeachment to the Senate, though, a move that has angered the president, who's been pushing to speed through the process.
I'm not worried. I'm not worried, because it's always good when you don't do anything wrong.
Look what we've got.
That's right, for the weekend of Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, and like when we haven't even practiced this, as you can tell.
Tell me about the Force.
The Force.
Yes. Yes, the Force. Okay.
You are for an advanced lightsaber technique.
Okay, good luck.
Okay. Whew. Whoa, okay. You got me. He's hanging along.
Wow, look at him go. Look at him go.
a traffic tie-up we want to make you aware of here. This is I-10 at Woodlawn. You can see the lower level there. Nobody's getting anywhere fast, and it's really kind of starting to back up top as well.
Yeah, I-10 at Woodlawn. This is, it's not too far down where both of them come together, so that could be why the upper deck is backing up as well, because the merging's not going so well, it would seem, along I-10 at this hour.
And the weather's not helping.
Yeah, exactly. Slick roads out there.
Yeah, it's damp. It's going to be damp all evening and all night. Some fog to start your day tomorrow, then sunny and 63. Then as we get into Sunday, we do it all over again. Some morning fog, a bit of a chill in the air to start the day, but into the 60s by the afternoon. Nothing to worry about weather-wise as we go into next week. We're looking at a lot of sunshine and quiet weather around here, which is good for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Sunny and right near 70. So I figured it out. I looked it up again. It's my new favorite Christmas song.
This is the
from Whataburger.
Whataburger mashup.
Go to Instagram, look up Whataburger from Trinity University, the Acapellas, and the Trinitones.
Yeah. Trinitones. Fantastic.
They just meshed all of them together with Whataburger themes. Good stuff.
Like Oh Sweet Tea.
Yeah. Oh Patty Melt, oh Patty Melt. And then fancy ketchup.